Dang, man, I have been trying to figure out. Okay, let me just stop here. I gonna ask you to be honest with me because I gonna be honest with you. So, everybody has a story. You got a story, I have a story, everybody have a story. This is my disclaimer. When I first decided to do this, it was a long time ago. I just couldn't believe I was in such a shit show. Considering my circumstances, considering everything that I've been through. So I was like, man, I gotta put this shit in a book. This shit is a book. It gotta be a book. Like if I didn't know myself to have lived the life that I've lived the last 10 to 12 years, I'd be like, oh my God, that is like good writing. It's great writing. So here we go. I sit in here in the car and I'm trying to tell this story as best as I can without jumping around. I just want to give out you some disclaimers. 1, I got ADHD, like for real, like legitimate ADHD. 2, I have stage 4 breast cancer. I've been living with it for damn near 6 years now. 3, my intention is simple. Change behavior. Change behavior for you, the person receiving the shit show, or change behavior for the person contributing to the shit show. I don't know. Change behavior. I also want you guys to remember that everything that happens for a reason. We might not understand it now. We might understand it, later, but at some point it starts unveiling itself. Like I am convinced that I lived through and I thrive through what I've been through so that you could do it too. So, and this ain't just for females, because I know, I ain't gonna be up here, it's a woman. It has nothing to do with it being about females. Because anybody could be in a toxic relationship, male or female, because people are people and we are flawed. So, my story. I want I to know that regardless of whatever, the goal is change behavior. I gotta say that again. It really is change behavior. And I want you guys to keep my kids out of your content as best as you can. Keep my kids out of your content because they didn't ask for this, right? And it's almost shameful that I put them through this. Like I did. I put my kids through what I'm about to tell you I lived through. Like I made a choice. It's my choice. It was nobody else's choice but my own. All right? And I want you to understand that the people in this story, people I'm going to talk about, people, whatever, everybody made their choice. And I'm making my choice now. And the one thing I'll tell you is your number one, whatever it is you do in your life, is to not suffer in silence. You hear what I'm telling you? Don't suffer in silence. Whatever you do. Because if you're in a relationship with a toxic person, the number one thing that they want to do, I just saw this random spot, y'all. Listen, I have stage 4 breast cancer. I'm seeing spots now. I'm like, what is going on? All right, gotta check that out. But first thing you gotta do is make sure that you love yourself. You can't do nothing in this life if you don't love yourself. All right? And it's unfortunate that I had to go through what I've gone through, what I'm about to tell you, in an effort to finally be in a place where you see me now, where you're like, oh, okay, she look kind of healthy. She got stage 4 for real? Yeah, I really do. I legitimately do, y'all. I wish I was fucking joking about that too. Okay? But needless to say, we're here. The story begins. 2012. Coming off the edge of a series of like failed relationships. Let's just say that, failed. At least 2 in particular. I really was like looking forward to like cultivating. Didn't work. Just didn't work. Okay, so I was in a place. But I remember the year before, I had said to my mom, she'd come to visit me in Virginia. And I said, Mommy, I get a house, I get these degrees, I get a car. I mean, get nobody to share it with. So you fast forward to 2012. Just see somebody come across my feed. I'm not even really sure when we became friends, but came across my feed and it says, look like I officially caught a cold. And I just simply, in my own smart aleck ways, because some of y'all know, some of y'all my Facebook friends, and ever so often I say some shit on your page, you're like, what? I don't even know she be seeing me. I do. If it's worthy of me saying something, I'm gonna say something, right? And nothing just to say. So I went ahead and I wrote, sounds like you need to catch something else. That's it. That's all I said. And nothing, just to say. So I went ahead and I wrote, sounds like you need to catch something else. That's it. That's all I said. Here come Mr. We can call this man Leech. And maybe sometimes I might refer to him as Lucifer. But Leech come in my inbox, Facebook Messenger. Thank you, Facebook, by the way. And he says, where'd you get those abs? Y'all, don't worry. I got the receipts. Wherever I got receipts, I'm going to tell you I got receipts. So, where'd you get those abs? So then the banter comes back and forth. We're going back and forth. Banter now. Banter. I mean, it's real good banter, y'all. Listen, I'm an intellectual, so I like brain shit, right? So, he's talking to me, telling me what he's telling me. I'm gee because I'm somebody seeing me. I'm feeling good, right? Look at the picture, I ain't see if he's like super attractive or not, but like, oh, he's okay looking guy. Skinnier than I'd like, but for all intents and purposes, a good guy. So then that leads into exchange of phone numbers. Exchange of phone numbers leads to us talking almost every day. I mean every day. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. And I'm in Virginia, he in Texas. Man tell me, and this probably was the first red flag. My daughter, a couple months old, she about to be 1 on the 25th. Mind you, it's January 1 I meet this month. January 1, 2012. January 25th, he's about to have a 1-year-old. That's the first red flag. What's wrong with me? Listen, I know, okay? But I was like, one of the things that I did that you're probably doing too is that you try to rationalize in your head, well, what if that was me? Like, you shouldn't, hold it against somebody who has kids, because you might have kids. Like, look at you. Like, right now, y'all, I got 3, okay? And I'm a single mom, right? Don't hold it against somebody. So, okay, boom. Look past that. Then, the waterworks. I remember thinking to myself, well, he must really love his child. Because he was like, oh, baby mother don't want me to see my child. And, because we ain't good. She using her. And me sucking it up, I'm like, what? I know we can be like that. I know we can be like that. It ain't just women, it's men too, but I know we can be like that. So I was like, well, damn, that's messed up, right? So I'm already going into saver mode, y'all. Listen, principle is big for me. If anybody that knows me will tell you, if Julie see and experiencing or hear something that just doesn't sound right, she's gonna want to be your advocate. So I jump in, flying monkey. Listen, y'all, remember that term, flying monkey, all right? So I come in, and I'm like, what? I mean, how can she, that didn't even sound right. Like, man, that's sad. Like, man, that's crazy, right? Like, he already telling me a story. He already the victim. Number one, already a victim. He's a victim of baby mama drama, okay? And I sit down here going like, man, I don't understand these women. I know this woman from Adam, but I already got judgment, passing it on, right? So now we had, and I just saying to myself, like, bruh, like, this ain't right. This don't sound right. It can't be right. Like, what we talking about? So I done taken it again, and the man here crying. He was crying. I was like, what? He must really feel safe to be crying in front of somebody he just met a couple days ago, right? I mean, and it went in front, y'all, because it was long distance, right? So we on the phone. And this is back in Skype days. Y'all know, listen, I'm dating myself now. Back in Skype, when Skype was hot, right? So we on Skype, talking every day. Man crying. He's like, I want to my dad. I just want to be a dad, man. I'm like, damn, you should be. And listen, you know what's so crazy about that, y'all? I don't know my dad. And because I don't know my dad, I'm a little triggered when people trying to like keep good men away from their children. Seriously. That's like legit. So he already had me at, oh, I want to be a father, but she didn't want me to be a father. Seriously. And every so often, y'all, you're gonna have my accent come in. Please bear with me. All right. I'm born and raised in the Virgin Islands. All right. So that's like the most authentic self I is. All right. So I can work with you. But for the most part, I try to articulate. But when I tell a story, you know, I can get a little islandish. So now, hey, I just met you. I can work with you. But for the most part, I try to articulate. But when I tell a story, you know, I can get a little islandish. So now all this is happening and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Like, boom, 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 can't do this. I'm already in like fix it mode. It's so crazy. Like I'm already in advocate mode. Like, shield on, let's do this. You want to see your kid? We gonna see your kid. Seriously, y'all. And y'all, excuse any of the nervous laugh, because that's what it is. It's a nervous laugh. It's almost like a coping mechanism, right? Because I can't believe that I was so silly. And I say silly in that I was so blinded by my own sort of like ego. Like, just say, like, it's my own ego, right? Because here we are. I consider myself to be analytical. I consider myself to be like a person that plans, proactive. I'm organized. And here it is, a situation where we can put my skill sets. So because we can put my skill sets in this situation, then we gonna be all right? Because if we do this the right way, you should get the end result that you want. Hence probably why I'm a life coach, y'all. You know what I mean? Tell me your problems. Let's do it. We can do it, right? But this man here, say whatever it is he needs to say, right? Like, if we can call him Unleash or Lucifer. I ain't know which one gonna come out, okay? Don't bear with me. It's saying, okay? So, I tell this man, that ain't right. You gotta start going into, you gotta do things the legal way. If she's gonna be difficult, you gotta go the legal way, because that's the only recourse. I mean, and that's for you too. Y'all hearing it here. I'll tell you, I'm not gonna tell you anything different than I told him, right? If you're dealing with a toxic person who are intentionally using your kids as pawns to get to you, to stick it to you, to whatever, marriage or not marriage, you take them to court. Not everybody can afford to go to court, but you got to go the legal way. That's the only way for you to do. That's the only way for you to get some ease, right? So now I want you guys to remember, in 2012, I initially came into this already, right? And this is how you know you're going into a toxic relationship, because it don't take long before you hear about the ex and how toxic the ex is, and then experiencing some of the toxicity, right? So I don't know all of the ins and outs, and I can only tell from my perspective. I can only give it to you from my perspective. But what I will say is that there was something in me that knew that I wanted to be a partner. So like the first thing that even had the resemblance of needing my help is what I kind of gravitated to. I mean, it just is what it is, all right? And I thought I could make it work because I'm smart and I'm proactive and I'm all these other things. No, you can't make nobody love you, all right? And if somebody's coming into your space with no good intentions, you ain't gonna get good results, period, all right? And we still on part one, and we barely doing anything. 2012, so y'all heard, I met the man on Facebook through Messenger, and then y'all, 14 days later or so, I went out. I might have met the man. I went out January 13th. It was a Friday the 13th too, y'all. It was a Friday the 13th. Went out, met him. I remember he came, picked me up from the airport. He was driving a Charger, SRT8, y'all. There's another reason too, like another thing too, like driving his good car, but he living with a roommate. A roommate guy. But you know, he's a military man, so it is what it is. I ain't no judgment. Listen though, one thing I will say is I don't judge people for what you have and what you don't have. I don't judge you. But some red flags, all right? So comes pick me up in this car, and I remember getting in the car and he like revving it, like letting me and I'm just like, okay. Not easily impressed, but it is what it is. Then first night, nothing really happens, and then he takes me out on a date to some restaurant that goes 360, and I'm like feeling like, and really and truly, y'all, like, if I'm being completely honest, I felt like that was probably like my first date. Imagine, I'm like 30 years old. I'm not damn near 30 years old, y'all, and I'm just getting my first date, right? So I've never really truly been courted. So I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is different. Okay, this is what the grown-ups do. And I think he paid for the meal. And because I don't remember it being like, oh, this is weird, right? Like, so he paid for the meal. But I was always the kind of person that's like, well, I don't want anybody to think that I'm with them for what they got, right? So, paid for the meal. We ate, it was good. Took a picture, and I'm super excited to like just post about my nice little fine dates. I pretending like I drinking wine. Yo, I don't drink. But I had my glass in my hand. I posted it. Nice little fine dates. I pretending like I drinking wine. Yo, I don't drink. But I had my glass in my hand. I posted it on Facebook for my friends to see. And then that night, right? I mean, it took me on a date, and I gave it up. So I gave it up, and then once I gave it up, I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, that was quick. It was quick. Not that he was quick. The situation was quick. Just the fact that I gave it up so quick. But Jesus Lord, y'all, get your mind out the gutter. So, with all that being said, then I kind of like got like semi-nervous, right? Like I was like, damn, like, this is crazy. Like, this ain't even, like, this is wild, girl. This is wild. But needless to say, I remember writing a poem. And I used to write all the time. I used to write when things in my life weren't going well. Like, it was important to me. So I wrote a poem. I wrote a poem to him, and I wrote a poem about potentially meeting his daughter, right? In 2012. This is all in 2012 now. Is it going to go exactly chronologically in 2012? I don't know, y'all. We probably all over 2012, but we're going to be in 2012, right? So that's year one, because that's year one. That's when the love bombing, the gaslighting was real, right? So then we fast forward. I'm still doing my own thing. I'm working out every day, y'all. Working out ever so often. I play volleyball. I'm still me. And then, ever so often, his first trip to come see me, because I was like, and when I went to go see him, I paid for my trip to go see him, right? So then I was like, man, when you come in here, come to my space, right? Because when I went out there, I had to stay in a hotel. Because he lived in a roommate. Like, he ain't got, what you gonna show me? So I put the hotel, boom, 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 whoop, 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 right? And then, first time he come to visit, I paid for his trip to come visit. Because I pay for what I want, to be honest. Like, I really do pay for what I want. And I don't want people to be like, oh, money's the problem. Because sometimes we make money a problem, and it's not money the problem. It's just like, you're afraid of the experience. And again, I know I'm probably saying that shit from a place of privilege, y'all. I don't want y'all to think that I got a lot, because I really don't got a lot. But what I do have is an understanding of myself and an understanding of the things that mean something to me. All right? And anybody that knows me, whoever y'all gonna dig up to find out that knows me, is gonna tell you, like, what you see is what you get. So, pay for the man to come see me. Right? Yeah, I mean, this should have been number one. Like, this should have been another red flag. Like, one man gonna be like, oh, you pay for, nah, I gonna pay. I gate. Nah, girl, I gate. I gonna pay. But, military man, we ain't making a whole bunch of money, boop, 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 whatever, right? So again, ain't my place to judge nobody for what you got, what you ain't get, right? Because in my heart of hearts, I really thought this man was potential, right? And that's another thing too, y'all. Don't fall in love with potential. Meet people where they're at. Meet people where they're at. What they give you, don't be like, oh, well, I see the remnants of. Nah, go with what you see, not with the potential. Because that will have you telling your business, like I'm telling my business right now, trying to save the other person to not be doing what I did. All right? So, needless to say, man come out to my space, and every time he came to see me, we pretty much had his daughter. Every time. Every single time. And I didn't even think anything of it. You know what I thought? This is how silly it is. This is how I thought, oh my God, he must really trust me, because every time he coming out here, like, he brings his daughter around. Every time. And I get to, do nighttime routines with her and, teach her some things, and he must really trust me. Nah, what he found was a babysitter. What he found was somebody who ain't asking enough questions to be like, this is your child, not my child. What he found was somebody who was like, oh, you know what? I'm a partner regardless. You ain't got to show me much, but I'm going to do whatever. All right? So, I digress. Then we move into months are going by, and every time, I swear to y'all, every time he was getting ready to leave, it bothered the crap out of me. I mean, I would be like, I miss, seriously. And I don't know if it was like, I love the fact that I had somebody that was nearby, that made me feel safe, that made me feel feminine. I don't know what it was, right? Again, I was vibrating low, y'all. It's obvious and evident I was vibrating low. I wasn't in a good enough space. I wasn't whole myself, right? So when he would leave, I'd be like, damn, this is crazy. I don't want to, man, this is hard. Like, long distance sucks. Did. So when he would leave, I'd be like, damn, this is crazy. I don't want to, man, this is hard. Like, long distance sucks. Did. Listen, every single time. Then May came around, it was around my birthday, Memorial Day weekend or whatever, because, you know, it had to be coinciding with when he would be off and shit. So, comes again, goes gets his daughter, she's with us, boom, 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 right? And when she was with us, y'all, I had a 3-bedroom house. So, it was a three-bedroom townhouse in Fredericksburg. So she had her own room. I made sure kid-friendly it up. Y'all, like, listen, I was ready to be a mom. I was ready. All right? I signed up. I was like, hey, put me in, coach. So I did my due, right? I was doing everything that I could to show this man that, look, everything that you want, I got you. Period. Then you fast forward, and we all in a space where now I meet his mother. Oh, damn, he must really trust me. Like, I'm meeting his mom. But you know what the crazy thing about this whole thing is that, like, maybe the December before, y'all, they had a trip down to Florida where his mom met baby mama. Like, it was crazy. It was the craziest thing. Anyway, I digress, okay? It's a shit show. But again, not thinking about any of that, y'all, because, you know, when you're in it and you already convince yourself that you're going to move forward with the thing, that's what you're going to do. And that's why, you know, there's many times where I've been on social media, I've told you guys, like, unless you find a reason to not stay, you ain't going nowhere. As long as you're making a reason to stay, you won't stay. So for me, I didn't have a reason to go nowhere, because I was like, oh, okay. I mean, kid is about to be a year old. Okay. He lived with a roommate. Okay. He ain't really paying no bills, but he always got the finest Gucci and bloop, bloop, bloop on. Okay. Or at least trying to stick up with the Joneses. Okay. That's it. I was like, okay. And I became a okay woman, right? So, meet his mom. And the same weekend I meet his mom, he had his friend come visit too. Like, imagine, my house. His friend come to my house to come visit, to sit down and eat dinner with his mother, his daughter, and me. An ex, by the way, right? An ex-girlfriend. Another Gemini too. And on that visit, she bring her child too. So they both get a child around the same age. Another girl child. And then they proceed. So mother and me at home. And y'all, I had, to this point, me had no experience with children. I mean, none. So when she came with her daughter, he had his, like, literally, I know what the hell I was doing, okay? But I know to keep children alive. Let's keep them alive. So his mother there with me, and then both of them, him and his friend, him and the girl, they go out. They leave. I can't remember if he take my car or not, but they leave. They probably took my car. I don't know. Took her car. I don't know. Whatever. But they leave. So it's the mother, me, and the two little girls in the house. And they both about 1. So they're still in diapers. Right? So I know doing my due, whatever it is I normally do, because I ain't needing my children. But, you know, talking to mom, making sure she doing whatever she doing, bloop, 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 right? And then whatever it is, the day comes back, they come back, right? I mean, they were gone for a couple hours, come back. I ain't worried about it. I ain't tripping. Listen, I was securing myself for all intents and purposes. At least I thought I was, right? So then girl come back, and she said something to me like, they ain't change your diaper? diaper, or change his daughter's diaper, essentially, right? She's good. I ain't taking nobody's, I ain't gonna be touching nobody's children. Like, what, hello, I don't know you like that. So then she said to me, oh, you ain't supposed to change the diaper? Like, you change your tampon? Like, every 2 hours? Listen, no, and this is in my house, y'all. Listen, this is how I know that in my heart of hearts, everything that's happening to me or has happened to me happened for a reason. So I could live and tell it. Because I remember when she said it to me, I was like, that's your kid. I don't pawn my shit off on anybody else. Why the hell you think you could leave your kid and be like, oh, by the way, if you knew you were going to be gone for 2 hours, you should change her fucking diaper. She didn't stink. So change her fucking diaper and then leave and then come back and deal with her in 2 hours. Oh, by the way, if you knew you were going to be gone for 2 hours, you should change her fucking diaper. She didn't stink. So change her fucking diaper and then leave and then come back and deal with her in 2 hours from when you left. But I ate it, y'all, because listen, one thing about me, I'm not super controversial. I don't do that. I don't do toxic energy on purpose. I'm going to stand on principle. I'm going to stand on what's right, but I'm not going to be like going back and forth just to be back and forth. I ain't going to try to make a big shit just to make a big shit. We're going to talk about it now. You know who you are. And I remember saying to myself, like, damn, that's fucked up. She in my house telling me this shit about her kid. But my bad. But then, again, I always try to try to play devil's advocate. So I was like, well, maybe she's right. You were looking after the kid, Julie. It's one thing I always do, y'all. I always try to see both sides. Always. Needless to say, all that happens. And now she proceeds to let me know that they just went out and he bought her a new phone. So then in my head, I was like, I see who you are. Right? Like, and again, this is me passing judgment. I will take that. Passing judgment. I know I am. I was like, oh, I see who you is. Because I could tell you right now, I might have more boyfriends than I have girlfriends. And if any boyfriend ever did me a service, ever did me a thing, I wouldn't go tell their girl or their wife, oh, look what they did for me. I'm just not going to do that. Because I don't know what they got going on. But she felt the need to let me know. All right? She did. So I listened. And I said, oh, okay. That's all I said. Oh, okay. Maybe trying to get me to rile up. I don't know. Listen, you got to be mindful of how you respond to people. And I didn't really know these people like that. This is all new. And this is how I'm being introduced to his friends. Listen. And this is coming off the heels of me already meeting her previous to this time, right? And going to her house. And I'm thinking that we shot the shit. We were really doing it up. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, she comes across a little stuck up. That's what she told him. At least that's what he told me she told her, right? So I was like, okay. It's like, shit, well, maybe I don't talk about my accomplishments. Because, I leave with that. I'm like, yeah, I got some degrees. I got, make pretty decent money. Boop, 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 boop. You ain't talking on no slouch. It doesn't matter what I sound like or even what I look like, right? Here's my pedigree. Well, parents didn't like that, so came back to me. And again, this is all coming back from him, third party, so ain't no telling. She never tell me this shit to my face, so it is what it is, all right? He could be fucking lying about that. But needless to say, that's what it was. I already kind of had like a little thing about you think I thought you and I was vibing, for real. Because she made it a point to tell me how she talked to his daughter's mom and they were, whatever. Okay. I don't need to be his friends. I always say that. I don't need to be your friends. I just need to be myself. But anyway, 2012 was getting long. But anyway, so we are in a place. She said what she said to me. Now she's telling me the dude buy her a phone. And I'm just like, that's just so messy. I don't do messy, y'all. It's just so messy. Like, what? Ugh. Okay. So all that done, she goes her way. And then I finally get to talk to him about it. I'm like, what is that? Like, you went out and bought her a phone? Like, and then she felt the need to come back and tell me. So you know what that means? Like, this girl clearly is feeling you. She clearly feeling you because she didn't care about the drama that she about to create by telling me what she telling me. Because she don't know what we got going on. I told him just like that. I said, I think she's really feeling you. I think for her, what she sees, because when y'all dated, you weren't in a place where you had kids and you looked like you were ready to settle down. Mind you, I met the man like a couple fucking, at this point, it's months now. I don't know him a couple months. But I'm talking about he ready to settle down. I didn't know this man from Adam. And I'm really being honest, but hey, it is what it is. I told myself a dream, sold myself a dream, and now I'm living in reality. Okay, so this month, and the girl, or whatever it was, he's like, oh, so then he goes back and proceeds to tell her. This is what he tells me, he tells her, right? He's like, yeah, I tell her that you think that she still likes me. I said, why the fuck would you tell her that? Oh, now I know. Listen, it's only until now I know, right? Because one thing a toxic person will do, y'all, is they want to triangulate. They want to have as many flying monkeys, right? People out there doing their bidding or strategically manipulating relationships and people so that you eventually seem like you're the top one. Seriously, that's what they do. Period. It ain't a kinda in between. Like, so I tell you as your girl, sinking, wasting, crumble, like you're the top one. Seriously, that's what they do. Period. It ain't a kinda in between. Like, so I tell you as your girl, I think this girl likes you, and that's why she felt the need to come back to my house and tell me that my man just bought her a cell phone. When I know my man ain't making a whole bunch of money to be paying for nobody's shit, to be honest, right? And I told him that because, you know, I wasn't gonna say like I was super amazing with money, but I was a better steward of my money, right? So I was like, look, I'm definitely not gonna be pouring into you so that you pouring into somebody else. Well, you know what, y'all? Hindsight's 2020, and that's exactly what the fuck happened. All right, I poured into this motherfucker, and he poured into everybody else. All right, on numerous occasions. But that's neither here nor there. You gotta listen. You gotta get the lesson. You gotta learn the lesson. You gotta leave the lesson. Period. So, as we still getting through 2012, you understand that this man here is who he is. But again, the red flags didn't step. I mean, they might have been red flags, but they weren't stepping out on me enough to be like, oh, you know what? Seriously, they weren't. I don't know what it was. Cloaked, dagger, whatever. I don't know. I wish I knew. Maybe as we get through this series, I'll be able to tell you like, okay, that makes sense now, right? We might call this series Make It Make Sense. I don't know. But we get to the point where now he's, okay, this part with the girl, the ex-girlfriend. And then every time he visits again, we get to see his mom. I bust my knee in April. Listen, the stars were aligning, okay? The stars were trying to tell me I need to sit my ass and be still. They were. Met this guy. I've never been injured to the point, y'all, where it literally put me out of commission. Playing sports all my life. Never in my life. And in April of 2012, I busted up my left knee. Tore an ACL, meniscus, on a freak shit. They like literally went to go get the ball and boom, boom, blah. And to this point, I was still being active. So it wasn't like I was super out of shape or anything like that. Like, literally. And it humbled me. Let me tell you, I am the worst sick person. You know what I'm telling you? I am the worst sick person. I'm the worst fragile person. And I remember saying to myself, because I am not a good sick person, I might have been egging on what I was getting from him, the energy I was getting from him. Because what I got from him and what I felt like I was getting from him was kind of like, well, I mean, okay, you'll be all right. You'll get over it. Right? That's the kind of energy I was getting. But what you'll find with a toxic person is they don't know how to relinquish self and give to somebody else and make them a priority. They don't. So when I needed somebody in priority, like, yeah, we talked on the phone every day, but when I was just having a moment and moping about having to depend on somebody to come help me shower. And shout outs, Auntie, you know who you are, for coming to help me out. And it was my ex-boyfriend's aunt that came to help me out, by the way. Just want to let y'all know. Shout outs, all right? But like, seriously, I didn't, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, okay. It was just, the vibe was different. You know what I mean? Maybe I was expecting to be babied and I didn't get babied. I don't know. But it was different. But then I also said to myself, like, you're not a good sick person either. You hate being sick. You hate not being able to do. So that happens. Finally get on my crutches. finally can be up walking around and stuff, and he would come visit me on my dime. Yeah, I was paying for him to come see me, yo. I paid for my escort. that's not funny. It's kind of, but not really. But all that stuff happens. The universe is telling me, listen, you ain't, nah, girl, don't do that. Sit still, be still. But I said, no, get back on my knees. And then throughout this process, July timeframe comes around, right? And it was crazy because he had like a family reunion. This is all 2012, y'all. Listen, I was a walking ATM. Paid for everything. In 2012, he had a family reunion. I really want to make sure I get my dates right because it might be off for a year or some months, y'all, but like he had a family reunion that same year I was on crutches. Same year I busted my knee, right? And it was crazy because like we had like these tumultuous spaces where I was like always saying I'm sorry, or it's making me feel like I was less than. But I was just like, man, you know, I guess this is what relationships are, because I really had not been in like a real like serious relationship before this, right? Like, so I didn't know what to expect. I don't want to blame this on naivete, because it's not, y'all. It's just, I think it's just downright desperation. Like I was desperate. Girl, I know how much you really want some. I don't want to blame this on naivete, because it's not, y'all. It's just, I think it's just downright desperation. Like I was desperate to be somebody's partner. Like that's just what it boils down to, right? And remember what I told you guys, the end goal of this series is change behavior. Change behavior for you who are suffering through and suffering in silence because you don't think that you can say anything, and therefore you feel alone, and therefore the shame, and it's just kind of like this perpetual cycle of you being quiet and staying, right? But I also, for those of you who could be a little bit better in your relationship, who could be a little bit more nurturing and understanding and non-toxic, that you stop doing that too. Because listen, once you're in something toxic, at some point in time, you become toxic too. All right? So yeah, I mean, I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm not claiming to be anything but what I am, which is survived. All right? I have survived. I'm thriving. Okay? Because I made it a choice to be done. Anyway, continuing. Go on to family reunion. I pay for the trip. We catch a train because, you know, planes were expensive. So we catch the train. It's him, child, and me. Catch a train. Pay for whatever fees they had for the family reunion. And we get out there. Stay with his family for a little bit. I remember being like, hi, and you know what I mean? But it was a good time. And I remember talking to one of his aunts and being like, man, I just don't understand. Because again, I was trying not to suffer in silence, but every time I would open my mouth, like even one time I talked to his mom. And I remember him coming back to me and being like, well, you know, you think you telling my mom this, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you mean what I think is going to happen? I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think she's gonna hear me and give me fucking good sound advice because she fucking grew you. She raised you. All right? And I want to know, is this the monster you raised? Okay, at that time, obviously, it wasn't a monster, but it was like, is this the dickhead that you raised? Like, that's what I was hoping. But that's not what I got. It was like, well, you know, I remember she said to me, the one thing she did say to me, she's like, look, whatever it is you're doing now, make sure you keep it up. That's what she said. And look, I definitely kept it up. Kept it up way too long, y'all. But needless to say, we go on that trip. It's a good trip. It seems like his family appreciated me. And I'm feeling like, again, because I've always wanted a big family too. Again, like, remember I told you, desperation in wanting to be somebody's partner. Desperation in wanting to be seen. So, that's what happened. Then, all of a sudden, we got a return. I don't know if it was a return. I don't know if it was on the return or not, y'all. Like, it was something. Something happened where I ended up down at the daughter's babysitter's house to pick up all of us, right? So him, me, going to go pick her up. And just so, out comes this little woman. She's small. She's a small woman. Small woman. And she's like, you can't take my daughter. Can't take our daughter. So then they proceed to like have like this little bit of argument. I'm like, y'all, relax. Like, you're not serious. I'm always trying to play peacemaker, y'all. Like, what's wrong with me? I know my play. I need to stay. You know what I need to do? I need to butt out people business. That's what I really need to do. But I jump in. I'm like, oh, y'all relax. It ain't that serious. Because I'm trying to be the calm head. Because listen, I ain't got no beef. I ain't got no beef with nobody. I got no beef with nobody. So I'm trying to be the cooler head. Cooler heads prevail. They really do. Cooler heads do prevail. And while I'm going to be reliving my story and telling it to you guys, it's not a matter of anything outside of cooler heads prevail. All right. And I'm so glad that the girl that I had to bury to be the person that you guys see in front of you, like I did that. All right. Because she was a whole different girl. Woo. Anyway, I digress. So we out front of the babysitter's house. I in crutches. Because I ain't got crutches. I remember I had the injury in April, so I'm still on crutches. I'm still recovering. We drive in my Toyota Camry at a time. Shout out to Toyota. And it was the craziest thing. She comes out and she's just like, no, you can't take her. And they start this argument. And I was like, look, it's not that serious, oh my. So I'm trying to be cooler head. And I'm like, look, it ain't that's like, relax. Think about what it is. Because he's saying that, you're having some hard times, telling him, you won't let him see it. Like, why? This is exactly what he's kind of talking about, right? Like, because he showed up to pick her up, like you guys agreed. And now you're saying she can't go. Yo, I be doing shit like that. I'm like, look, that's what you said, right? He trying to. And now I'm feeling stupid. He's kind of talking about, right? Like, because he showed up to pick her up, like you guys agreed. And now you're saying she can't go. Yo, I be doing shit like that. I'm like, look, that's what you said, right? He trying to tell me to stop talking to her, but I'm like, no, you need to relax because you being a little much right now. Because it was extra. I was like, you being a little much now. So I guess because I kind of dismissed him, and some of y'all probably like, girl, you need to know your place for real. Okay, whatever. But I'm trying to be a peacemaker, okay? So I go ahead and I'm talking to this girl, and she says, we're just talking now. And I guess we look like we like legitimate talking, ain't beefing. He drives off. He drives off, y'all. I have no crutches. My crutches are in the car. So here I am, wobbling my ass into this woman's house. And y'all, I have hyperhidrosis, right? So when I get super excited, super anxious, super whatever, what happens is I end up, my hands and my feet sweat. And then I have like these sweat marks in places. So here I am. I don't know what the fuck I was wearing at the time, but like I remember just being like, man, I feel the sweat marks. Because I felt like I was being grilled, right? So first of all, you left me, right? Dude leaves me here. I ain't got no crutches. The crutches are in the car. And he just drives off. Doesn't tell me where he's going. I don't even remember if I had my phone or not. And I'm talking to her and I'm talking to her. And we talk and we vibe. And I'm like, listen, I'm the elephant in the room. I get it. You didn't know I exist, but I exist. And I said, he didn't know me while he was with you. From all I know is I'm coming in at the end, the tail end. And apparently the man tell me that you guys weren't really, a thing. It was just, a jump off kind of thing. And then you got pregnant and here we are. This is what I'm telling her. I'm like, that's what I know. All right. And it ain't like me trying to air her shit. I'm just saying, this is what I know. All right. So I don't want you to think that I come and I wreck up your home because that is not what I did. She's vibing. I'm listening to her and I'm like, okay. She a little rough around the edges, but for all intents and purposes, she ain't no dumb girl either. Right. I'm picking that up already. So I'm listening to her, but you can still tell, she's a little triggered. And again, maybe some of y'all listening to this story is going to be like, I'm triggered too. And that's fine too. But when you deal with something toxic, when you deal with something crazy, it's hard for you to be untriggered. You're going to be triggered at some point. It's just how you deal with the triggeredness. All right. So I'm listening to her and I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. Again, this is all in freaking season one, 2012. All right. The love bombing, gaslighting stage. I'm now talking to her and I'm kind of vibing. I'm like, listen, if you want to come up, we can meet up after this because this is weird. Like, this has just been a day. But, just please let her go on the trip because it might have been before the trip or whatever it was. Trip to the family reunion. Because I'm like, she's about to have a family reunion. Boop, 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 boop. She finally lets her go. We drive up to my house now in Fredericksburg because they were like in Hampton Roads or Hampton somewhere. South Virginia. So now we talking, and I'm telling him like, man, you know, actually she's not as bad as you. She's not as bad as you think. Maybe. First of all, that was my own fault, right? That was my own fault. Telling the narc or telling the toxic person that the person that they're trying to pretend or have victimized them is not as bad. Like that is, I know. Y'all, I know nothing about narcissism. I know nothing about toxic people. I had to live through this. I have firsthand experience. I had to go through it. All right? But that's my own fault. Like now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that was dumb. Girl, please. If you know you were dealing with, like, that is an absolute red flag right there. Right? But I said it to him. I said, actually, you know, she's not as bad as you're making her seem. Like, she seems pretty reasonable. Right? Like, she says, you go get your daughter. She want to know who's around her. I think that's a valid expectation, to know who's around your children. Y'all, who tell me say that? Mr. Nessman here say, who's on my side? I lied to you. Listen, we got into an argument, and that was his fucking exclaim. Who's on my side? Y'all. And me sitting on there, you know, listen, that manipulation is so real, y'all. I'm sitting there going like, but I'm on your side. In my mind. I'm like, but I'm on your side. Like, no, I'm on your side. Like, but I'm just saying that she has some valid concerns too. You know how crazy that is? To be talking to a person that you know you support. And because there's even an indication that you could possibly be taking the side or the stance of the opposing.
Tell myself, so I walked up and said,
indication that you could possibly be taking the side or the stance of the opposing side, that you are no longer on their side. What the hell? That happened. All right. So needless to say, we go on this trip, right? And you know, by this time now I got her phone number. So we texting back and forth, right? But I was always doing too much, y'all. And I remember there was a text, because as I was texting her, I'm screenshotting them too, because I'm like, look, I didn't want you to be thinking I'm doing nothing in silo by myself. I was always about transparency, y'all. Listen, you'll know if you're in something toxic if there's no transparency. Just saying, all right? Transparency, if you require it to be transparent. Because I recognize some of y'all have your relationships. I can't tell you what to do in your relationship, but whatever your relationship is, if you ask for a level of transparency that you don't get, then chances are you're probably in something toxic. Just saying, all right? Because you're going to find an agreement, because relationships are about agreements. So if you find an agreement and everybody abides to the agreement, listen, that's a healthy relationship, all right? So even if y'all are agreeing to see other people, agreeing to whatever that is, that's a healthy relationship. But if one person is in agreement with themselves and the other person is in agreement with themselves, you don't have an agreement, all right? Because my agreement was like, I'll be transparent. I'm all about transparency. From day one, I told the man, I said, listen, if you ever get to the point you ain't interested anymore, just let me know. I want to be an informed participant. Don't go out cheating on me, doing all this other stuff. And especially since I was already kind of like in it. I was in it to win it, y'all. In it to fucking win it. I tell this man, I'm on your side. I'm just saying, like, big fucking argument. You know what I'm telling you? It got so heated, y'all. He dumped me. Yeah. It got so heated after that one exchange. And apparently the exchanges that I was having with her via text, because he didn't like the fact that I was talking to her. It's clear to me now. He did not like the fact that I was talking to her. And he did not want me to talk to her. Because to be exposed to her would have been to be exposed to him at his core. Right? Like, so be mindful of that. There's a reason why narcissistic people, men and women, they don't put you in a place where you get to be near the ex. They just tell you about how crazy they are. They just do. All right? And anybody that hears me tell about, like, what I say is, he's a bum. That's all I say. He's a bum. I don't say shit. I be like, he's a bum. And then I say, yeah, this is what he did. I don't play the victim, because I'm not nobody's victim, because he did not do to me anything that I did not allow him to do. And that goes for you too. All right? I woke up. Only you can wake up on your own time. All right? Because only you will know when is enough is enough. But we still in 2012. I now am like, damn. What? But we were so good. Because listen, I'm just thinking about the fact that I now have a man who I can look up to, right? Because he's taller than me. I like that. Listen, big women, we want to be feeling small as best as we can, all right? So I got somebody I can look up to. He's easy on the eyes, boom, boom, boom. And now he's want to walk away. And I'm like, bro, what? Look at this. Even though he dumped me, he was still calling me every day. Every day. Because when he dumped me, that means my wallet went away too. Right? I mean, right? Okay. But here's what he did. So he dumped me, but he didn't dump me. He dumped me, and I was still trying. And of course, he already had me licked now too, right? I was already licked now. So I was like, oh, but no. Please. I didn't mean to. I'm listening to you. Yeah. Had me licked, right? Whatever it was. And again, y'all gonna be here and be like, oh, he must have had some great dick. He must have been dickmatized. Nah, y'all, it wasn't even the best dick I ever had. It's not awful dick. It wasn't awful dick. Pretty good sex. But it wasn't like, oh my God, geez, the moon, the stars. It wasn't anything like that. But it was good sex. It was. But that's not why. It's because, like I told you guys, I was already in a place ready to move on to the next thing. I really was. I already was. So then you move into, okay, he dumped you, but you're still talking every day. So when you're still talking every day, you really ain't got no supper. You ain't got no closure and no boundaries, right? You can't set a boundary. The lines are blurred all the time. And he's still an authorized user on my card. So now I don't want it to be like, in my mind, right? And it's all the manipulation piece too, right? In my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want him to think that because, you know, him and I are like, I still can't support him. What the fuck am I thinking? What's up? All right, y'all. But that's what I was thinking, right? So I was like, but I wasn't quick to be like, oh, you do and I do. You do and I do. I was like, let me give it some time. Because that's a lot of times we get caught up in relationships where it's like, oh, well, if you dick me, I'm gonna dick you. Nah, I don't operate like that. I never have operated like that. I won't operate like that. So I give it time. You know, one of the things in Eduential, we have a thing where you say, you give a man enough rope, he gonna hang himself, right? So that's what I did. Listen, unfortunately, it took my man 10 years to hang himself, but
fine light in the beautiful sea.
You know, one of the things in Eduential, we have a thing where you say, you give a man enough rope, he gonna hang himself. Right? So that's what I did. Listen, unfortunately, it took my man 10 years to hang himself, but it is what it is. So, and he probably was hanging himself all along, but I was always there to rejuvenate him. So, it's what it is. We move into 2012. Still in 2012, y'all. We still in 2012, year one. And he's still an authorized user. We, you know, he's still talking to me every day, but we not really together, because I mean, obviously it's a long distance too. So then he got a trip coming up. His cousin is getting married, and I'm telling y'all, it's a pattern. Every time there was a break, or I'm sorry, or oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. The next couple of times it's, oh, I'm paying for this, or I'm sending homework, or I'm writing a paper, or y'all, I told y'all I got 3 degrees, but I really got 3.5 because I got an associate's degree too, by the way. Just want to let y'all know. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So it was just what it was, right? That's what it was. So now we're back together now, just in time for me to pay for the trip, for us to go home, his home, Miami, to watch his cousin get married. And of course, y'all, with my capital, I made him look good, right? And I didn't have listen, I don't want y'all to think that I'm some rich heifer, because I'm not. I'm rich in love and I'm rich in life. And like I said, I think I was a fairly good steward of my money. Still living paycheck to paycheck like everybody else, but just a better steward of it, right? Like my priorities were just what they were, right? So what I would do is pay for the thing I could, and move on it. I had an American Express Gold card at the time, and I was super excited for that because, you know, my credit score was amazing, blah, blah, blah. Because when I met him, his credit score was shit. It was absolutely horrendous, right? But it didn't matter. You know what I mean? There was times when he finally, because in September, then his daughter went to go live with him, right? They had an agreement because her mom was going to be deployed. She went to go live with him in September. And just so happened, for this trip, now we getting back together. And mind you, also in September, I end up moving to Texas, y'all. Listen, you're right. After the man dumped me, yes, after he dumped me, but it was already set in motion. I'm telling you, if bust up my knee in April, May was a time frame that, you know, we had the whole daughter meeting, bloop, bloop. June time frame. July was the, or August, July or August was the family thing. You know, he dumps me. I'd already started in at July, I think, or August or whatever, because he's like, make it happen, right? I say, I can't do this every time. Like, every time you leave, that shit. He's like, well, make it happen. That's what he said. Well, make it happen. And guess what? I made it happen. So I started putting my resume out with some headhunters, and once I get to the headhunters, you know, they start showing me jobs in Texas, in New Braunfels. I end up landing a job with Rush Truck Centers. And when I go to Rush Truck Centers, the best thing that I could have possibly done for myself in my career, y'all, is that I never let my personal, as best as I can, until now, because listen, this shit is, you know, for public, this is a public spectacle I'm about to make. And I work in corporate America. And I also moonlight as a realtor. And I also, like, this is real. But for the most part, I never put all of my personal eggs in my professional basket. So when I moved out to Texas, I didn't move without a job, some sort of income for myself. Found a job, it was paying more. So it was actually a come up. So like, if I really think about it, like my professional career actually picked up once my personal life was gonna start hitting the shitter. It's sad to say, but for real, all right? Because I was here in the DMV making about $67,000 a year, and then I went off and I started at 74, and I was like, oh, we up, right? And it was crazy because I was like, oh, this is good. This is really good. This is okay, we can do some things here, all right? And every time I got a raise, I would tell him. Every time. So he always knew how deep my pockets went. Right? So I think that's probably, right, sometimes it's like super irritating to know what he's done. Like when you deep my pockets went. He always knew how deep my pockets went. Right? So I think that's probably, right, sometimes it's like super irritating to know what he's done. Like when you come to the realization what people have done when they have information, you get like, it's sad actually. But I digress. So still in 2012, y'all. We're still in fucking 2012. So just when I get out to Texas now, and for Texas to work, I had to rent a house sight unseen. So he had to go. So he went, he was talking to a realtor, found a duplex in New Braunfels, picked it. I moved in it. Y'all, on my way out. So now I gotta get in a U-Haul to come out. And until this point, still, he's kind of like not really my boyfriend, but you know what I mean? It's crazy, because I'm thinking too, in my sick mind, that, well, he dumped me, but he's still talking to me every day and he's still using my resources. So this ain't gonna be long. He gonna be back. Don't be done. Listen, he gonna be back. Because some of y'all men are doing that right now. You're like, well, you know, she gonna be back. If they don't want to be there, he ain't gonna be there. No matter what you throw at them, all right? How much you throw at them. At some point in time, it's gonna run out. So that's the lesson. I'm telling you, I'm gonna try to give you guys the lessons along the way. But that's one of the lessons. But here I go again, my ego, right? That's all my ego, because it makes me feel good that I'm being needed and I'm being wanted and I'm being all these other things, but I'm being used. That's what I don't see, is that I'm being used. So, needless to say, I gotta go in a U-Haul, pack up my townhouse. And I remember telling my friends, I love you. Y'all, I love y'all for always having my back. I remember telling them I'm leaving to go to Texas, to go chase this dude that just dumped me. They were like, okay, love me anyway. And that's how you know you got a real support system, because they're gonna let your dumb ass go on your own accord, all right? Don't come back running back to them, all right? But they did. They let me go. Y'all know who you are. I love y'all, though. So everybody comes, they pack me up. Not everybody. Some people were just they were mad. They said they didn't come help me pack. But some people came help me pack. I pack up this U-Haul. And on my way, y'all, I'm making this drive from Virginia to Texas by myself. So imagine, I left Virginia. A single woman. Single. Townhouse, I bought the townhouse. Townhouse is on the market now. I didn't sell it. I put it on the market to rent. It's one of the smartest things I ever did. But I'm in the car, and along the way, he's like, well, can you stop and pick my stuff up from Hampton? I have it in storage. Or Virginia Beach, or wherever the hell it was. So imagine, y'all. Virginia Beach is not on the way. I want y'all to recognize where on the map I was at. It wasn't on my way. Like, Virginia Beach is not on my way to Texas. Hope y'all recognizing that, all right? But I made the stop anyway, because again, the ego. He's gonna make me listen, all right? You knew exactly. Listen, he was the master manipulator of recognizing my own invisible insecurities. All right? So, I digress. So I go, pay for his shit out of storage, and I bring it to Texas in the U-Haul, the drive by myself. And this man technically has dumped me. So I'm going out there technically single, right? But I'm like, well, I got a job, it's paying me more. Boom. So I tried to look at the bright side. And I was always one of those people who tried to look at the bright side, right? The bright side is, okay, that's just happening. But guess what? You're going to be doing great things in these great things. So that's what I did, right? Is this open, north, south? I don't know. So that's what I ended up doing. I end up now driving. I can't remember how to drive. I'll tell you guys later. I'll probably put it in the chat or something, put it over mass, like how long the drive was. It was a long drive. I drove it by myself, right? And I get there, and I remember pulling up, because I even had to like put my Toyota in the back, because I was driving the U-Haul, put my car on the back. It was crazy, y'all. But it was good. It was a good experience. Listen, I've done some things, man. I've done some things. And I remember feeling in that car powerful too, like in that big mock truck. Yeah, that's me, right? I did. I felt a little powerful too. So that was kind of empowering too. But needless to say, get out there, and things are still whatever they are. So I finally get the stuff in the house, and then I actually take some of his furniture and furnish the my property, right? The rental. So imagine I owned a house in Frederick, Virginia, that I was renting in Texas. And I took some of his furniture and I put it, and I just created home. Because listen, one thing with me is I'm gonna make home. I'm gonna make a home. I'm gonna make a home. And I took some of his furniture and I put it, and I just created home. Because listen, one thing with me is I'm gonna make home. I'm gonna make a home. I'm gonna make a home wherever I gotta make a home. And ain't nobody gonna make home like you. All right, so you make your own home. So what I did is I made home, put things out where I wanted them, organized, boom, boom, boom. His shit was there, right? So because you can't stay in the garden, and it didn't go in storage. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move his stuff in, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't a whole bunch of stuff, but it was enough. It was a couch and this, a media player thing or whatever, but it was some things. So I just made it to build the new space I was in. Now come time, I guess we're getting back to like kind of being, in better standings, better spaces. And again, probably in preparation for the trip that he got coming up in December, right? Like he already knew. Listen, one thing I would always say, he already knew what he was doing before he was doing it, right? Like everything for him is strategic. Everything for him is strategic. Everything for a toxic person is going to be strategic. It's always going to be about how I can control the narrative or control the situation. So for him, it was probably like, okay, I'm bearing her down. She's still here. I'm wearing her down. She brought my shit, wearing her down. Still here. But I think things took a turn because I don't know if it was in 2013 or 2012, but there was a point where I actually wrecked his SRT8, right? I drove up on a median. I was reaching back to get something for the daughter in the back of the car, and I drove up on the median, right? Wrecked his shit. Broke the fucking axle, and it's total. So that part of me was guilty for that. Like, I felt guilty. I was like, damn, I wrecked his shit. Like, this is probably like one of his biggest prized possessions. Shit costs more than anything I actually own outside of my property. So like, damn, like how am I gonna get this? Like, how am I gonna pay this man back for this, right? And he was still making payments on the car and whatever. And he took it well. He took it well enough. Didn't trip, didn't fucking. So I was like, oh, okay. He must really like me. Man, I'm telling you, it's really good. But that's all part of for me, when I look at it now, I'm like, man, that was all part of the camp. That was all part of the con, all part of the mark, all part of the scam. Like, you know, oh, well, you know, at some point, you know, the return, the equity is better. So yeah, I'm gonna take this hit right now, but I know in the back end, I'm gonna get that times 2, times 3, times 4, right? So it was what it was. He took it like a champ. So end up with an SRT 8, y'all. Y'all can imagine my big 6'3" behind, his 6'4" behind, and the daughter in the back of the car, in that little car. Yeah, I had one that was a stick shift too. So that was the car I drive. It was what it was. He'd be in the Toyota. Is what it is. We are now still in 2012, y'all. We still in 2012. But I guess when he realized that, you know, he had this trip to go back to Miami, wanted to bring his daughter, bloop, 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 and I'd be paying for it, that, you know, it was worth trying to rekindle. So at some point, somehow, y'all, we were back in things because we were, you know, doing things. And I remember one time saying to him, like, when are you going to move in? Right? So when we finally got to the point where things were kind of like calming down, and I was like, okay, it seems like we back to, you know, back to back. When are you moving in? I lie to y'all not. This man said to me, moving in? I wasn't moving in. And it got to be after September, because September was when, you know, his daughter made it to Texas, right? That she was gonna be in his care. And at this point, he had moved from the roommate that he was with, and he was with a female roommate that he worked with. And I want you guys to pay attention to the females in this man's life and how they interacted with me and how I interacted with them. I really want you guys to pay it, because that's key too. And maybe it's different for the female narcissist, because then the males in her life and you aren't. It's gonna be different, right? But pay attention to that. So now we in a place, and he got a female roommate that I ain't meet just yet, and he'd already been data day, and I coming now to Texas. So I in Texas now, data day, and we starting to rekindle, and I said, so when are you moving in? I'm not moving in. My data here, like, what is this? I need to figure out how to, you know, make this work and navigate, and I'm not moving in. So now I remember saying to him, wait, I pack up myself to go halfway across the way to come live by myself. I never said I was moving in. What happened to make it happen? I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that.
Why you gotta be so rude?
To come live by myself. I never said I was moving in. What happened to make it happen? I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. I lie to y'all now. That's what the man said to me. He never said that. Yeah. He was really, listen, really good, man. I gotta tell you, listen, A+, A11+. So needless to say, and you know, again, desperate for me, man. Desperate on my end. Because it was like, yeah, he did dump you usually. You were kind of rekindling. You still were close. Again, blurred lines, right? And all you need in a toxic relationship is blurred lines. If you don't got clear distinction between one way or the other, everything's going to be blurred. So I eat it. No, what am I going to do? I'm going to eat it. Like, I mean, I'm already there, but it didn't matter because I was making strides at work. I quickly moved up the ranks in project management. So it was what it was, right? That's 2012. Then all of a sudden, I remember one time talking to his roommate, and she had asked me, she said, you think you settled down? She think you settle in? And she asked me that. Do I think I settled in? I was like, no. And then funny, because me, in my mind, I was like, why would I even, like, what kind of friend are you to be telling me if I'm settling for your friend? Right? But maybe she knows something I didn't know. And that's what you, listen, you got to be mindful of what people are telling you when they're telling you it. And not always think that it's coming from a bad place. You should really assume positive intent. And I sucked at that, right? Because in my mind, I was like, this is the finest thing since sliced bread. So everybody wants a piece of him, right? And they just mad that I got him. Y'all, don't be like that, all right? Be honest with yourself. So when she said it to me, I was like, okay, whatever, right? And it was what it was. So then something happened in her house and about her dishes or something in a Southern woman's kitchen. And I was just like, what are we talking about? I was like, you pay rent there. I'm your girlfriend. Like, I'm so confused. And especially y'all, since I don't go out of my way to cause drama. I do not go out of my way to cause anybody drama. I don't. Not on purpose. I swear to you. But if you come for me sideways, I might be likely to come back for you in a other way, right? And it's gonna be subtle. It ain't gonna be anything crazy. But it was crazy to me. I was just like, what are we talking about? So here we go. Next female that I met got beef with me again. So I was like, dude, man, it's okay. I won't come to your house because then she was like, she didn't want me to come to the house anymore. So then I couldn't come to his house anymore. To the house that he was renting. He rented a room in her house. And I was like, well, damn. Fuck. So it was what it was. So I just kept my ass where I was, in my own space. So then, I guess, after I decided to keep myself in my own space, he recognized that, oh, you know what, I'm trying to get to this trip. And, I'm trying to get to my trip or whatever. I'm trying to do whatever that I got to, rekindle. So then he moved in. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to have my roommate. And you were right, Julie, because her mother was telling her to do these things. Because I used to be like, can I take your daughter to go get pictures with Santa? No, the roommate's already doing that. Why does your roommate doing that? That don't even make no sense. Like, why is your roommate doing that? For real. Like, your roommate is doing that? I'm your girl. Like, shouldn't it be me? So needless to say, that wasn't the case. And he says, and again, we don't know, listen, I don't know what the truth is still, y'all, right? I don't know what the truth is. I can only talk about what I've seen, what I'm unseen. But he ends up moving back into the house. So had our first Christmas in the house. And it's funny because the first Christmas photo in the house is literally of the tree. Like there's an email I went through the other day that says our first Christmas. And it literally is of the tree. We ain't in it or nothing like that. So I'm like, how much of this man had been, okay, that don't even make no sense. Where am I going? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Oh, okay, 21 more minutes. So like really and truly, like when I think about it, I'm like, really though? Like really? Like really though? So, okay. Tree, Christmas, we back. All right, so that's end of 2012. So 2012 was filled with a whole bunch of gaslighting, a whole bunch of love bombing, and then a whole lot of heartbreak too, y'all. Like I remember even in year one, there were times I was crying. Like crying because I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad. Oh my God, my heart is so broken. Like that it happened in year one. And I still was a glutton for punishment. Still was a glutton for punishment. So what does that say about me? That says that I was desperate to be somebody's partner. And I was the right package at the wrong address. Stay tuned for 2013. Stay tuned for 2013, man. Like season 2. All right? So.
And I got an engine for a trunk space. I get money 3 ways.